right, it's level in this five-match T20I series, 1-1 in the early stages. It's set up very well for the third T20I that's happening on Tuesday in Ahmedabad yet again. But the breaking news is that the rest of the series is going to happen behind closed doors due to rising cases of COVID-19 in Gujarat. Sandipan Banerjee joins me to discuss and debate about the third T20I and the series going forward. There's a lot happening, Sandipan. There are debuts happening. There are players coming in and performing really well. There's talk of the pitch. There's talk of England's selection. There's talk of India's dilemma ahead of the third test. Does Rohit come in? Does he not? Who plays? There's a whole lot to talk about. Where do you want to begin?
Well, Rohit has to come in, hasn't he? I mean, he's one of the best T20 batsmen in India, and he has already set out in the first two games. And obviously, in the first choice playing 11 in the World T20, Rohit will be there. So if you want to build a team for the World T20, you have to consider Rohit there. So I guess probably we might see KL Rahul sitting out for a couple of games and Rohit coming in.
All right. Before we get into that, of course, let's talk about the second T20I. India winning the toss, bowling first, restricting England and chasing it with absolute ease. Of course, the little blip in between was KL Rahul's dismissal early on, something nobody wanted to see. But thereon, it was the Ishan Kishan show. On debut, no nerves at all, absolutely taking England apart. Sandeepan, this lad has not just walked into the team, he has broken down that door, demanded that selection, and now grabbed the opportunities not just with both hands, with both legs, with everything. And he's thrown a spanner in the works when it comes to selection. Now India will be thinking a whole lot, especially after the ease that this lad has shown at the international level against a very good bowling attack.
Actually, we have been saying this for a while, I guess. In fact, in the previous
Very
show
long
also
time.
that we discussed that one of either Ishan or Sky has to play in this team. Even our editorial head Abhishek Mukherjee is a huge admirer of Ishan Kishan. So I guess on a serious note,
Yeah.
yes, I mean Ishan actually, people like Ishan Kishan, Surya Kumar Yadav, they are the new India we always talk about, that the youth
Yeah.
power we talk about. Yes. So they are all, before coming into this World T20, before coming into this Indian international setup, they are
Yeah.
established T20 players back home in the IPL or whether in domestic cricket. They have come through the ranks. You know, Ishan Kishan was part of the India under-19 team. In fact, he was the captain when India lost in the final against West Indies in 2016.
Yeah.
Then he has been a consistent performer in domestic cricket, and of course we know what he is capable of through his performances in IPL. So that's why they have already faced these world class players. They have already shared room with them, so nerves are always, obviously that's why this fearlessness comes, from where this fearlessness comes. And you have to, because these new breed players, since they are fearless, they can go after the bowling right from ball one, like Ishan Kishan did. He just went after Archer. He just went after the England spinners, which in the first game we didn't. Some of the Indian batsmen tried to play from the crease, but Ishant was ready to step out, ready to use his feet, ready to slog sweep. So this is the difference between and what results, and maybe a traditional player and a new youngster who's coming through the ranks of
Yeah.
this new brand of cricket, playing this new brand of cricket.
I think the intent was obviously right there from Nishan. He's always been a confident young brat. I've seen him from the very beginning, and everyone looks at him as somebody who jokes around, but he's a serious lad when it comes to work ethic. He works hard, and I think Mumbai Indians have to be credited for his journey. The other Mumbai Indians player that we didn't see a whole lot of course, in this game is Surya Kumar Yadav, who made his debut, didn't get a chance to shine with the bat, didn't get his opportunity to go out there. But I think he'll be given another game. This time, of course, you don't seem to think that he'll be dropped, especially because he hasn't gotten a chance.
Of
So you'd like to
course.
think there's only one change in this team, that Rohit will come in for KL?
Of course. I think yes, Surya Kumar will definitely be in the side because you have picked him. You need to give him
Yeah,
at least few games to prove, and he hasn't batted also. And so I guess,
yeah,
but the problem with the Indian team setup is that Surya Kumar, they want to use Surya Kumar Yadav as a finisher, the role he used to play for KKR. But we saw the
yeah,
real prowess of Surya Kumar Yadav's batting when he came back to Mumbai and then
yeah,
batted at number three.
yeah.
So I guess I don't know how Surya. But obviously he's a world class player and he will definitely settle into his new role. But
Yeah.
I would have liked Surya Kumar Yadav to bat probably and now probably at number four. But now since Rishabh is batting so well that we are not,
Mm.
and that position is at least occupied for some time by this by Pant. But in the long run, I think Surya Kumar Yadav is a ideal number for batsman in a T20 side. He can
These are great
anchor.
comments to have, though.
Yeah, he can anchor, he can play innovative shots, he can be, if you lose couple of wickets early, he can hold the innings together as well. So he can
Yeah.
fit in into multiple roles, and you need that kind of a player at number 3, number 4 position. Number 3 is obviously Virat Kohli is there. So at number 4,
Mm.
I think in the long run they should use Surya Kumar Yadav, whereas someone like Pant and others Pandya, they can come in and hit the ball. So those kind of players we can use in the death overs, like. So Surya Kumar, probably I would prefer him to bat at number 4.
That's a position that he's been groomed to play in as well in Mumbai Indians at the top of the order. He's someone who was given responsibility from the 2019 season, responded fantastically well. But however,
Yeah.
Sandipan, just to play devil's advocate, KL Rahul, before these two innings, had the time of his life in the IPL. He has been on a roll, India's number one opening batter in the limited overs format. And now suddenly we're looking at a time where he has to be dropped. Just to play devil's advocate, do you reckon KL Rahul deserves another go where someone like a Shreyas Iyer, who can probably sit out, and someone like Surya Kumar Yadav can play at five?
Well, Sumedh,
Yes, you are.
Am I
Please go ahead.
audible? Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
I just think that I mean, yes, KL, obviously he was for a long time, he was India's best T20 batsman, and
Mm.
he was fit in nicely with the wicket keeping role as well. He was doing that in ODI team, in the T20 side. In Australia, he
Mm.
had a great time. But again, you have to play Rohit Sharma. You cannot sit Rohit Sharma out for 3 matches out of the 5 games. So, and how will you fit him there? There's KL Rahul at this point. He looks like the only option. And Shreyas, since he played that knock in the first game and finished the game in the second match. So I think
Mm.
it will be too harsh for Sher if he gets to, if he misses out this game. So I think at this point, unfortunate, it is quite unfortunate, but Rahul has to make way for Rohit Sharma.
Mm. Interesting. Very interesting. Let's move down towards the bowling. There was a new formula, of course, adapted this time. You 4+1, which is obviously you used Hardik Pandya as your fifth, but you use four main bowlers. Do you see India persisting with that philosophy? Do you see? First of all, let's talk about that philosophy. It's something that's different. Virat Kohli likes to go with five trusted bowlers. He's gone with four in the last game. Do you think there is scope for more tampering around with this in this game as well?
Look, at this point, the formula works nicely for India because Hardik is bowling his 4 overs, and there are other options as well. And obviously over here, is we cannot say it's a batting paradise. At times, it can be two-paced, especially if you are batting first. We have seen that. In the second half, the wicket settles in nicely with the dew, little bit of dew coming in. But in the first half, actually, it is
Mm.
a little bit, what should I say? The ball is not exactly coming into the bat very nicely. You at times batsmen are
Sluggish.
mistiming that shot. Yeah, yeah. So that's why I think on this kind of a wicket, this formula works. But if you are playing probably
Mm.
in one at Wankhede, or probably in the World T20 World Cup, India will be playing all this in major venues there. Obviously, Ahmedabad obviously is a major venue now,
Right.
but the other Indian venues that like
Yeah.
Bangalore, where it's a
Yeah.
smaller ground,
Traditional venues.
yeah,
Yeah.
traditional venues. Over there, I think you have to play five bowlers. But in that case, Ravindra Jadeja will walk into this team whenever he is available. So I'm
Of
not very
course.
concerned
Of
about
course.
that.
Mm. All right.
In
Of
the
course,
long
there
run,
are
we might
concerns
see.
over Natraj.
Yeah, in the
Yeah, go
long
on.
run, we might see both Hardik and Jadeja playing in and Washington Sundar, and maybe someone like Shreyas Iyer may have to sit out. Yeah.
Wow. Well, when you think about it, you realize the competition that this team has in it, the internal competition, because of the sheer talent that India has, it is turning out to be quite a headache for India to pick this T20I side. And, well, a direct outcome of that is the IPL. The IPL has brought in such confidence, and that was clearly visible in someone like Nishan Kishan, who walked out like he was playing his 50th T20I game, but he was making his debut and looked absolute at ease. Sandeep, let's talk about the pitch. Owen Morgan in the post-match presser in this after the second T20 has said that they could be playing on a red soil pitch, which could indicate that there could be some extra turn. Do you, from an England perspective, would you play a Moeen Ali in this game and maybe sit out, give someone like a Jofra Archer a bit of a rest because he's played two in a row, or somebody else walks out, Mark Wood comes in? What's happening at England then?
Moeen Ali has to play in this team. Moeen Ali is a brilliant bowler. He's a good batter down the order as well.
Yeah.
So I was very surprised when they did not pick Moeen Ali. So I think Moeen Ali has to play. But the
Mm.
problem is that I think they are picking an extra pacer concerning the due factor, because if they think that if they have to defend the total, then in the second half maybe spinners can go for runs. So that's why they
Mm.
are picking going ahead with the extra seam option. But I think now England needs to take a chance, and I think probably Moeen we might see Moeen coming in this game. Jofra, yes, you can rest. Jofra is a long
Or maybe Chris Jordan,
white ball.
one of Jofra or Jordan.
Yes. So I might see they might rest either of Jofra or Jordan. And yeah, Mark
Mm.
Wood, he bowled brilliantly in the first main game. So I think he should definitely come in. And they already have Ben Stokes, who is bowling his full quota of overs. So I think
Yeah,
they
and
should.
looking good
And
as well.
as
Yeah, yeah.
and as we have discussed, there are 8 bowling options in this England T20I side. So they have plenty of options to choose from. But I think they have to accommodate Moeen Ali somehow in this team.
100%. Well, this England side obviously lost the second T20I, but we all know the potential that this team has. Number one team in the world, India will not take them for granted indeed. Sandeepan, before we sign off, the elephant in the room is, of course, the toss. Everybody talks about the toss in these conditions, it being an unfair advantage. Have we moved a whole lot towards one side where it's become an insanely big advantage, an irreversible advantage? If you lose the toss, do you think you've lost the match? And is that the case that we've reached to already? Because if you look at the conditions, then it's pretty clear that if you bat first, you've put yourself on the back foot. Have these two teams reached a place where they have to fight it off mentally if they lose the toss and then get themselves into the game?
Now, I want to ask here: how can you win the game after losing the toss? How can you defend the
Ooh,
total here?
yeah.
My theory is you
Condition.
have to probably you have to bat. You have to score close to 200 because it's a bigger ground. So close to 200 will be a good score, and then you have to attack in the power play. In the second power play, I mean, when you are bowling, you have to bowl your best bowlers in the power play, and by that only on that way you can defend a total at this ground. But we have seen on this theory working in the IPL, because we have seen teams defending probably at Chinnaswamy, probably at Wankhede team have defended successfully. Mumbai Indians have defended, they prefer defending at Wankhede. So the question over here is the game obviously depend is going in favor of the so far it has gone favor of the captains who has won the toss so far. But I guess yes, but
Yeah.
that real test for the captain will be when they will successfully defended a good total at this ground. So I think that will be a test for either of both for Morgan and Virat Kohli. But it can be
They
done.
definitely want
That much
to.
I can tell you. It can be done, and
Yeah,
especially Virat Kohli should
absolutely.
know that.
And yeah,
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 Virat Kohli
and
should
you'd
know
like to
that.
think, you'd also like to think that if Virat Kohli, someone like Virat Kohli would want to see his team put into that situation, or he would want to put the team into that situation to see how the team reacts as well. Because it could be the case in a T20 World Cup, in a semi final, a final, or a winning deciding game, that you lose the toss and you're in to bat first, but you don't have an option of a 5 match series there. You got to win that game. So, having said that, you'd like to think that one of these captains could probably win the toss and at some point say, okay, let's bat first and see, put ourselves in the danger end.
That happened after they secured the series. So once
That's correct.
I have seen Virat Kohli doing this. I think probably in IPL or in an international T20 game, I have seen Virat Kohli doing this, and in the press conference, he categorically mentioned that he did this to put his team. I think in New Zealand probably he to put his team under pressure and see how their bowlers react. So I
Yeah,
guess in IPL also I have seen him defending totals at Chennaswamy. So I guess very Virat Kohli is capable of doing any. I think he's very much capable of doing that thing, but only after securing the series.
yeah, yeah. You don't want your ranking to slip, don't you? All right. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have today on this preview of the third T20I. It begins at 7 p.m. on Tuesday. Join us on cricketnews.com to catch up on all that's building up in this series. Of course, remember, at this point, these are the only T20Is listed in this calendar year ahead of the T20 World Cup, which make them very, very important. Each game very, very important. And well, we are going to be bringing you all the very latest and everything that you need to know from this series right on your fingertips. So stay tuned to cricketnews.com. Sandipan Banerjee, thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you around.
Thank you.